Recording. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? This is Kasim Lamar Dream Big podcast. You are now tuning in. As you can see, I have a special guest here by the name of Mr. Mike Howard. Is it? Mr.
Yes.
Mike Howard. Yep, Mr. Mike Howard. Long-time Facebook friends. We finally, going to do this interview and everything, and we're going to go from there. And again, please, guys, like and subscribe to the channel, share the video, and do whatever you want with it, but please support. Again, Kasim Lamar, Dream Big podcast. I want to introduce Mr. Mike Howard. And yeah, Mike, let the audience know.
Yeah, so my name is Mike Howard, also known as Mike Nice, and I'm just want to first and foremost want to say thank you for allowing me to come on your program. I see you're doing your thing as well. I think it's very pivotal for like us local journalists or interviewers or podcasts, whatever you want to call it, us local people to always stick together and if we have an opportunity to interview each other and kind of share the wealth like that. So I appreciate you letting me speak to your listeners on your program.
Absolutely. We were supposed to do this a while ago, but I'm glad we let our let's say our platform increase a little bit before we done it, I should say. And hey, I appreciate you being on here. And and you're right. I think most of us, locally should start, getting in contact with each other, going on each other platform, letting them, that's how you get people. Mostly when I do videos and I'm doing it by myself, I'm like kind of uncomfortable, but I'm getting way more comfortable now. So when I'm doing interviews or just having, conversating, having a, good discussion, this is more important to me, if you ask me. I mean, This is more comfortable to me.
Right.
So yeah, Mike, just let us know a little bit more about yourself, and then we go on to, your platforms and things of that nature.
All right. So again, so all your listeners, my name is Mike Howard. I am a proud adopted child. I was in foster care for the first 4.5 years of my life. And then a mother by the name of Easter who found me, or maybe we found each other spiritually. Right. She adopted me. And ever since then, my life has changed for the better. She has changed and molded my character into this young man that you all see today. And actually, I'm not trying to get religious or anything, but I do believe in God, and I believe God works in mysterious ways. And the day I was adopted, it was my mother's birthday, my mother who adopted me. So now we always celebrate the anniversary of her and I. So this April will mark 31 years since I've been her son. So I'm adopted, went to school. And when I was in middle school, I really found the passion. Well, to be honest, when I was in foster care, I first saw Sally, Jesse, Raphael. And right then and there, I was like, that's what I want to do. Like, I was 3.5 years old. And it was just something about the way she dressed, the way she performed, the way she interviewed her guests on camera, the control she had that captivated me at a young age. And I was like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. I didn't know how I was going to do it. Again, I was still in foster care, so I didn't even know if that dream was ever going to come true. But I remember just like it was yesterday that when I was 3.5, I was like, that's what I want to do. I like pointed at the TV. I was like, that's what I want to do. So fast forward to when I was in grammar school, when I was in 7th, 8th grade, I took a TV production class and I fell in love. And I was one of the students that did the morning announcements. And I mean, I really just fell in love. At the time, I didn't know what editing was or anything. I just wanted to be the talent. Yeah. I was reading off the teleprompter and all that. It was great. And then fast forward 4 more years later, I'm a senior in high school, went to High Leadership. So shout out to High Leadership for any listeners out there who went to the High Leadership for the Holland Wolves. I was class of 06. And it was the beginning of my senior year. And I didn't play basketball. I didn't play football. I ran track. But my senior year, I was like, I'm not going to play any sports because, I wanted this to do nothing. I'm a senior. Right. I was like, I want to graduate and I want the kids to know me by something. It's not going to be sports because I don't play sports. Right. And I was like, I always wanted to do this talk show. So I went down to CTV and I filled out some applications about how to become a producer. And let me just tell you and your listeners, CTV in New Haven, it's totally free. Cameras are free. Everything, the audio, they teach you how to become a director, or if you just want to become like an audio engineer or
Right.
just do camera, like everything is free. It hasn't been open now since the COVID-19,
Right.
but it's a special place because, you know, you can't beat free. So I took classes, and March 26, 2006 was my first debut show, and it was a disaster. I was on live, and I had my I had my history teacher come on, and some of my friends came on from my class, and we just talked about everything. We talked about sports. Back then, Bush was the president. We talked about Bush Jr. We talked about hip hop, and my history teacher was so down to earth and was just going with the flow, and it was great. And from there, I just been just going.
Absolutely. That's great. What the thing is, when is her birthday? My soon to be 2-year-old, his birthday is April 17th. When is her birthday?
My mother's, hers is April 5th.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
April 5th.
That is so cool for her to adopt you on her birthday, right? Am I right?
Yeah, and it wasn't, I mean, that wasn't even planned like that. It was just how the paperwork and the judge, it just landed on her birthday, but it was a special day for both of us.
I can say, you know, my struggles as growing up I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey. My first maybe 3 or 4 years on this planet was somewhat the same. My grandmother finally said, you know what, I take over the situation with me and my sister. You know, because my mother was, you know, young mother in the 80s running the streets. Right. You know, so I definitely, you know, can see what you're coming from when it comes to some, you know, that. And also my little brother, I'm actually about to, you know, take full custody over him as well.
Oh, congrats.
You know?
Congrats.
Yeah. So I definitely understand that. But let's get back to you. Let us know about your talk show that you do.
Right.
And we go into everything. Yeah, let us know about your talk show.
Right. I have a talk show called the Mike Nice Talk to Talk Show, and I started it my senior year in high school. So this March 26th of 2021 will mark 15 years since I have had my show. Wow. And my whole mentality is to be one of the greatest interviewers / producers of all time. I really feel like I could interview anybody I put my mind to. I'm really persistent. I'm really persistent to the point of borderline harassment. But I guess that's a gift and that's a gift and a curse at the same time. But I host and produce all my shows. 90% of my shows are from CTV studios, but there's a lot of times I go to like the person's place and I do the interview, or we do a FaceTime interview, or we do a Zoom in like this. So it's all over the place. And I interview all kinds of people, like anybody who allows me to interview. So I don't just stick to sports. I don't stick to politics. I don't stick to entertainment. Whatever or whomever allows me to interview them, I interview. So I've interviewed anybody from our former governor, Dan Malloy, to my New Haven's mayor, Justin Elliker, to our former mayor, Tony Harp, to our former mayor, John DeStefano, to Chris Murphy, our state senator, to Richard Blumenthal, to Rosa DeLaura, to Russell Simmons, to Misty Copeland, to Linda McMahon. So I'm all over the place. Like I said, I've been really fortunate and lucky and blessed for the past 15 years to get a chance to interview and kind of talk to these people and get a different perspective.
Right. I use you as an inspiration because I actually want to do what you're doing, but it is a passion to grow my platform as well, my podcast as well. I always wanted to do it. And one thing about this, what we call this pandemic, it made you really want to focus in on what you want to do. I'm doing two to three things that I've been wanting to do for the last 15, 20 years now, ever since March. So just for you saying you staying persistent, I want to be just like you when I grow up. I want to keep on staying persistent, man. Absolutely.
I appreciate that. And
I
I just
actually,
want to go ahead.
No, say what you about to say.
No, I was going to say the key word you said in that was passion. And I've been doing my show since my senior in high school. And I do motivational talks at high schools and middle schools. And one of the common questions I always get from the students, even from the teachers, is, do you get paid? How much do you get paid? Do you get paid per guest and whatnot? And I always tell them I don't get paid, not 1 cent, right? Because CTV is a nonprofit. I'm literally doing this on my own. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm just saying, when it comes to your passion, money, what people say, what people think, doesn't matter, right? And I mean, I always tell people, whatever your passion is, right? How many years are you willing to do it for free? Right? Are you willing to do it for a year, 2 years? And if you're lucky, you find your passion at a young age. But I believe everybody has a passion for something. It doesn't always have to, revolve around money or your career. It just has to do what you like to do. And I love interviewing. If obviously, I always wanted to be the next Oprah. And in my 20s, I was like, I wanted to have a nationwide talk show. And now that I'm 34, my nationwide talk show is probably not going to happen. But like, now that I'm looking back, I'm like, at the end of the day, when I become one of the greatest producers and interviewers, I could say I did it on my own. I could say, I didn't have any sponsors. I could say it was my truly passion for it. So I know you said passion. I wanted to encourage your listeners, your passion is all you have. And don't worry about getting paid, because I work part-time. I'm a substitute teacher. I worked at the YMCA for like 10 years. I've been late for rent many times because I decided to miss work because I had an interview, because I feel like interviewing is way more important. Like I had literally missed my rent a couple of times where I had to ask my mom for an extra $100 because I was short, because I didn't go to work because I decided to do this interview for free. And, so it's all about your passion.
And staying persistent. I can tell when we first met, you was persistent with me, trying to let me know, I have my own show that I want to get into. I want, we need an interview. And I saw it. That reminded me of a lot of brothers that I grew up with. Same thing. So when I saw that, it's like, damn, what I'm doing wrong, and again, please forgive me for us, making this situation.
We here now.
And it's great. It's absolutely great. We was talking today, and you was telling me, I read an article that you sent me. That you did an interview with the late great Maya Angelou. I hope I'm saying that right, Maya Angelou.
I call her, I think the correct is Maya Angelou.
Lou,
Maya Angelou.
Yeah, great. I had an aunt that was a huge fan of hers. She actually met her and stuff like that. So my family is big on Miss Maya Angelou. But let my listeners know, how was that interview and when was it, and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was May 2014, and it was May 12th or the 13th. She died May 28th, 2014. So I really interviewed her, and in a couple of weeks, she passed. She went on to heaven. And I have interviewed over 400 people, and sometimes they're easy to get, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they put me on hold and whatnot. I would have to say, Maya Angelou was one of the easiest people to get. And I emailed her publicist, and her publicist said, okay, you want to interview, tell me a little bit about yourself. So I wrote her like a paragraph about myself, about my show. At that time, I think I was like at 9 or 10 years into my producing and hosting. And then within like a couple of days, she emailed me back and said, all right, can you do it this day? And I was open. And even if I wasn't open, I was going to make myself open because it's Maya Angelou.
You're talking about an icon.
Right. And then we did an interview just like that. It was an over-the-phone interview. And we talked a lot about, at that time, President Barack Obama awarded her the Freedom Medal Award, which a lot of icons get from presidents throughout the years. And I don't know if you remember in 2014 in the NBA, Donald Sterling, the former owner of the LA Clippers, said that controversial racial slurs over the phone. He got caught. So this was a perfect time to ask her how she felt about that, because here's Maya Angelou, who came from the civil rights, who was one of the civil rights leaders, on the same pedestal of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. So I was like, this is a good opportunity to ask her how she feels. So she told my viewers and I how she felt about the comment of Donald Sterling, and it was great. It was a great interview. Your listeners can actually watch a clip of it if they go to YouTube and type in Mike Nice Show, and you'll see it. Or if you type in Mike Nice Show, Maya Angelou, you'll see it. And it was a good interview. It was bittersweet because I was one of the last to interview her. I personally think, and this is my ego, I think I was the last person. If somebody was the last person, I think that would have been nationwide. And I remember interviewing her like May 13 or 12, and she died at 28. So I really think I was the last. But regardless, it's bittersweet because interviewing her and then she passed away, you know.
So yeah, we definitely gonna put that on the description box. All the information on there, and you can tell us and everything else. But and it seemed like and then other people that I enjoy watching, very entertaining, that you actually interview, like Stephen A. Smith, Molly Karen. I like her. She's all right, you know.
I know. You tell me. Fuck. Everybody has their opinion.
We talked about that, you know what I'm saying? But
the good thing about being a good interviewer, you don't have to like them, and you can still
absolutely.
I always tell people, if I had a chance, and I'm not BSing you, if I had a chance to interview Donald Trump, and I'm not offending him, but would I interview him? Yes. That's what an interviewer does. You have to be unbiased, right? So,
absolutely, and I was saying that on my Facebook Live yesterday. I don't care. We 100% disagree with each other.
Right.
I don't live in an echo chamber. I don't want to be around people that agree with me 100%.
Right.
You know, I consider myself a Black conservative. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a different type of Black conservative because I don't just vote Democrat. Some things I like with liberals, you know what they stand for, some things, but most things I like what conservative stands for when it comes to creating your own, for the most part, you know, working hard to have your own platform, not working for some big government, big business, just working for yourself. That's the old school conservatives mindset, you know what I'm saying? But you are absolutely right about that. You know, not always trying to, you know, work with people that you know you're going to agree with. You know, it makes it entertaining when you with somebody that you know you might probably have some controversial stuff going on.
Absolutely. I had an interview a couple years ago. I'm sure you're probably familiar with him, Dr. Umar Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a guest on my show a couple years ago. Great interview. And
wow.
You could. I'll give you the information too, where you can listeners so you can see it. But she came down. He came all the way from Philadelphia, came to New Haven, came to the studio, and I disagree with him a lot. What he says. It is what it is. And it was a good interview, and you know, we debated and we went back and forth, but like you said, you don't have to agree. You shouldn't agree with everybody that you interview, because then that's not the concept of the interview, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, we dealing with a lot of, you know, I always talk about it on my platform, and my audience know we dealing with a lot of emotional people, a lot of people that's really like highly like, you know, you say one thing that they don't agree with, it can cause a problem.
Right.
So if I'm going to talk to somebody that disagree with me, I'm trying to talk to a person that's mentally stable. You know what I'm saying? So you can, it's one of them things, you can have a dialogue and you can agree to disagree, as we should, you know? But tell us about the Stephen A. Smith, because I was very impressed with the interview.
Right.
But tell us the Stephen A.
So,
Smith interview?
I have interviewed Stephen A. Smith a couple of years ago, and he's actually now part of my biggest project called The Sport of Reporting. And The Sport of Reporting is a 3-part film, and it's about one-on-one interviews I have done with some of today's top sports journalists, sports reporters, sports hosts, sports analysts that we see on NBA TV, that we see on Fox Sports, that we see on ESPN, that we see on CBS Sports. And I, originally the concept was a couple of years ago when I was like, Molly Kerm, she was a guest on my show back in like 2017.
Oh, okay.
And I was really fortunate because she's from New Haven. I'm from New Haven, and I look up to her just because she's from my town.
I knew she was from Connecticut. I just didn't know.
Yeah, she's from New Haven. Yeah. She was the Quinnipiac and all that stuff. So,
okay, cool.
So, anyway, I interviewed her a few years ago, back in 2017. Then a few months later, I interviewed Chris Broussard from Fox Sports. Yeah. Then I interviewed Stephen A. Smith after a year of emailing his PR, like literally after a year. Yeah. So at this time, I have interviewed Stephen A. Smith, Chris Broussard, and Molly Kerm. So then I thought to myself, how many more of these sports journalists can I get? Let me see how many I could get. So I sent out a mass email to a whole bunch of sports journalists, a whole bunch of sports reporters. Some of them got back. Some of the emails are still pending. Some of them, respectfully declined. But the ones who got back to me, I was fortunate to make this film. And it's a 3-part film, and Stephen A. Smith is involved, Molly Kerm, Kerry Champion, Skip Bayless, Chris Broussard, Chris Berman. I have literally 30, so that's why it's a 3-part film. I'm splitting them all up. And interviewing Stephen A. Smith was great. I mean, to me, he's the face of ESPN, whether you like him or you. I always tell people you don't have to like him or you can hate him, but we love listening to him. Yeah, that's a fact, right?
That's how you get people. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Like, if you hate, I'm starting to realize it because I'm new to the game. Mm-hmm. The more people hate you, the more they're going to want to watch you. Right. A lot of times that is, they want to watch you. Right. But I wanted to put this as a segue because I want to talk about the 3-part project that you're doing. Yep. Let people know like what encouraged you to do this 3-part project first.
Right. Yeah. So it's called The Sport of Reporting Part 1. It's a 3-part project. So the first one is called Sport of Reporting Part 1, which it will come out this year. I'm trying to build enough viewers and some subscribers because I worked my butt off, and I'd be damned if I have like maybe 50 or 80 viewers watching it. I really want to get at least a couple thousand viewers and stuff. Yeah. So I've been sending my trails out slowly. So I don't have a specific date, but it's definitely going to be 2021 for sure. The whole concept was, as a sports fan, I watch First Take. I watch all these sports shows religiously. I love watching sports shows. I love getting
you and I both
different commentators.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, like, we're so lucky to have great sports journalists to cover our favorite teams, favorites, players. They interview our favorite athletes and whatnot. But we hardly ever see them being interviewed. We hardly ever see them being on the hot seat.
True.
Absolutely. We hardly, and I'm, as a little kid, I was always intrigued about how do they get the passes to the locker room? How do they gain the players' trust and things like that? So this project is all about that. It's all about putting them on the hot seat, so to speak. It's all about kind of picking their brains. It's all about kind of asking them questions about their personal stuff and how their personal stuff gets in the way or doesn't get in the way in their career. Right. It's all about, asking them, if you had to choose between one colleague to debate against, who would you debate? So this film is all about that and some more. Right. And it's I think it's really unique. I know for sure it hasn't been done like this before. And when I mean it hasn't been done like this before, I mean a common person like you and I, to come up with this collection of sports journalists and then make a project out of it. I mean, it's different if Stephen A. interviews Molly, or Molly interviews Skip, or Molly interview somebody else on her level.
Right.
But you're gonna get a different response and a different vibe if a common person like me and you interview them. You're
Right.
gonna get different questions. You're gonna get
Absolutely.
different answers. You're gonna get a different, connection, which
Mm-hmm.
makes it unique. And I was really fortunate, like, to interview all of them one by one, and so I'm really excited for part one. Like I said, I'm just trying to build up the excitement and build up the energy, but hopefully it will come out soon. I know for a fact whenever it does come out, it's going to be live stream on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And it's going to be the 26th of whatever month. And the reason why it's going to be on the 26th is because I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. We just had the 1-year anniversary.
Right.
And literally in the beginning of this film, it's a tribute to Kobe Bryant. So I want to put it out on the 26th.
Okay.
With Mike.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. That whole deal is you're planning. You're trying to solve things. You're planning it. You're actually putting both feet into whatever dream that you have, or to make it a reality, and that's important.
Right.
That's important for everyone, but especially young. I like it for myself. I like to, I like to let young Black males watch what I do and stuff like that, because I feel like whatever I do, they are watching me. Even if I have one person watching me. I've been coaching for 20 years. I've been mentoring for 15 years. So that was my first passion. Even when I was working corporate and stuff like that, that was my first passion. Making sure that I was the best role model that I can be. Believe me, I had my shortcomings and stuff like that. But as I got older, no matter if I was 25, 27, on and on, I made sure I was getting better. What I want to know, what do you feel about the having a role model title?
Yeah,
because you do. I believe that you do. I believe somebody out there watching you. I believe you have an audience. You have somebody watching you, see what you're doing. I'm watching you, and I'm older than you. You know what I'm saying? So it's somebody. So just let me know, what's your actual definition of a role model?
My mother is my role model.
Yeah.
I mean, hands down, she adopted me, and not even the fact that she adopted me, just the fact that she's a mother. You don't have a lot of, sometimes it's unfortunate, you don't see a lot of good mothers or good fathers out there.
Right.
But she's my role model, hands down. My older sister, Claire, she's definitely my role model. As far as me being a role model, I've been fortunate to kind of live out my dream and being this local interviewer, and I have had a few people throughout my time doing the show say, Michael, I look up to you. I'm a substitute teacher. I used to be a high school teacher back in 2016, co-op high school. And
Okay.
So I had a couple of students, come up to me and say, Mr. Howard, we look up to you. And I just try to just be the best that I could be. I know that sounds so cliche,
right.
But I know what kind of person I want to be because of my mother, because of her leadership, her role in my life. So I don't really, I don't look too much into it. I mean, people say, I'm a good role model, then that's cool. And if they don't, that's cool too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, but I've been fortunate to have a few people throughout my life say, Michael, we look up to you, which is,
right.
It's a good feeling.
Absolutely. And that's absolutely great, because I'm the type of person that I look into whatever I'm doing. And if I see somebody else that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, especially when they at a situation where people are actually watching them, I take exceptions to you doing things that's not, making the world go round, so to speak.
Right.
Not moving into the right direction of being a true role model, a true mentor, what have you. And I take my platform, that's what we do. So I'm a little bit different when it comes to that. But and I want to know, I know what I want to be doing in 5 years. What your biggest thing about the next 5 years that you want to do with your life? What you see Mr. Mike Howard doing
Right.
in
That's
5
a good
years?
question, because in 5 years, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So in 5 years, God willing, if I'm still here on this earth,
Right.
it would mark 20 years since I have done the Mike Nice Show. And I do want to call it quits after 20 years. My goal is to do my show for 20 years. And then I feel anytime you do something for 20 years, whether it's a show, whether it's teaching, whether it's journalism, whether it's a barber, anything you do for 20 years is a huge accomplishment in my eyes. Anytime.
Right.
A lot of people do 20 plus, but my passion isn't as high as it was 10 years ago. And I have realized that. So in 5 years, I want to call it quits with the Mike Nice Show. I want to become a professor. I have my master's in journalism.
Great.
So I want to become a professor.
Great.
I also want to become a consultant and maybe talk to like some of these local networks and TV shows, and maybe help them out as far as being producing, because I am a producer myself. And I think my work speaks for myself. And hopefully 5 years, it would definitely speak high volume for what I have done throughout the 20 years. So being a consultant, being a professor, and then the Mike Nice Show. And I know this sounds so crazy convoluted, but I do, when it's all said and done, I want to write myself into the Hall of Fame. Like I want to, when I'm done with my 20 years of the Mike Nice Show, I want to write to the Hall of Fame of broadcasters and say, hey, I should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So that's my long-term goal.
Hey, that's it.
I'm serious too. So
yeah, and I know you're serious. It's like I let my audience know you was very persistent. You can tell you got the eye on whatever goal that you want to keep on completing, whatever goals. I know when I see a person that got that key, that eye of what they want to do, and no setbacks, you're fine. As long as your health is good, as long as you're thinking the way you're thinking, you seem like a go-getter. So you keep on doing it. As a matter of fact, after this interview, you and I should, try to figure out of joining together somehow, some way.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But last question I want to ask.
Yeah.
Because being as though you're an interviewer and everything, what do you like to talk about the most? Is it sports or is it politics?
Oh man, I mean, I don't really have a favorite. I always tell people my favorite interview is always the next one. So
yeah. Good
I mean,
answer.
sports, I can relate to sports more because I follow sports way more than politics.
Right.
But it's always intriguing to have a politician on because I'm a young Black guy, and usually we are viewed as just entertainment and sports.
Right.
And I've had people come up to me and say, oh, Mike, I like that show you did with the governor, or I like that show you did with the superintendent, or I like that show you did with Rosa DeLauro. So I always find it intriguing for me being a young Black man, and I get to kind of dip my feet into some of these big name politicians who come on my show. So, sports, politics, either one is fine with me. Like I said, I can relate more to the sports because I play sports, or I played sports and I follow it more. I could be interviewing our janitor from our middle school, and it doesn't matter to me.
Absolutely, man. And that's exactly what I want to do. I was, even when after we had our conversation, I put on all my, all my social media outlets to tell people, no matter how big or small you think you are, if you want to come on my platform to air anything now, to talk about anything, or, if you have the businesses, you want to promote that, please do.
Right.
Because I really don't want people, I don't want to, just like you, I don't want to be in a situation where, Kasim just talk about sports. Just talk about politics, or he just talk about manhood issues. Right. No, I want to talk about everything. Entertainment. I want to talk about lifestyles. I want to talk about ship. I want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about everything that's going to be interesting with my audience.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of these audience, you know, a lot of people got that 5 or 7 minute mindset. They don't want to hear a bunch of stuff. They
Right.
want to, you give me less than 10 minutes and I want to hear you out. And
Yeah.
then it goes from there.
Right.
So, but I'm so passionate. I'll be like, well, they're going to have to follow me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how I am.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to
Right.
follow. If they don't want to listen to it, they don't want to listen to it.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
I don't know about you, but I talk to a lot of YouTubers all over the country,
Mm-hmm.
like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they always saying, what you need to do is just stop being so serious all the time with your content and try to talk about entertainment. And I'm like, you're right and everything. And sometimes my views will talking about entertainment be a little bit more. But I say, damn, this is my passion. I got to talk about what's.
That's here's my problem with that.
Yeah.
That whatever you're good at, do it. Yeah. And I don't want to make it into a black and white thing, but we have enough black entertainers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to be serious on your podcast, 90% or 100% of the time, then do it. Then be serious.
Absolutely.
And, you know, because we have too many, not too many, but we have enough black entertainers.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to, if we're black and we wanted to try something different, then do something different. I remember the first couple of years of my show, you know, people wanted me for some reason, because I did a couple of like fashion shows and I had a lot of local artists come on and they're like, yo, you should make it into like music.
Right.
Like, no, I'm not gonna do no. At first, I was like, they got 106 in Park. They got all these avenues for, you know, I was just so happy to interview some artists, but I'm not gonna make my show about music. No, that's not who I am. I'd like to, you know, dip into different things.
Yeah, dip into all that. If I do have, let's say God bless me to have an entertainer on, we're going to talk about the stuff that I know. We're going to talk about how do we empower each other in a way that we don't even have to think about somebody else helping us. Stuff like that. How do we empower each other for economic growth? That's what I want to talk about. Right. And I'm ignorant in those avenues, as you know, more, you know, less than people that I know that like, what's the guy name? Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm very interested in him because he talks about, he don't believe in asking people for, you know, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And, you know, he believe in, if you work like how we used to do 70 years ago, we work together, businesses and stuff like that. We don't have to worry about people, you know, getting policies made for us, you know, getting, income from these people, all sorts of different things. Right. We can do it ourselves. And that's the type of energy that I want. So if any entertainer, God will ever bless me for, you know, an entertainer on, we're going to talk about that. I'm not going to be talking about how much you make in a day and stuff like that. How many houses you have. I'm not going to do it.
I remember I had I forgot her name, but I had Hillary Banks from Fresh Prince.
Okay.
She came, she was on, and similar to what you were saying, we were talking about, she had like a non-profit organization, and we talked about a lot of stuff that was serious, even though she's an entertainer, even though, you know, she made people laugh on the Fresh Prince, but you know, the interview was a whole different direction. And,
right.
Which is, I mean, I was fine with it and it was good, but you know, like I said, we have a lot of black entertainers.
Oh, absolutely. We need to venture out. You know, we need to talk about economics and talk about, you know, the investments and stuff like that. That's, you know, and then talk to people like the great Maya Angelou, stuff like that. That would be awesome. But before we go, I want you to take your time telling people how would they find you and where would they find you, and whatever he says, I'm definitely going to put it in the description box as well.
All right, thank you. Well, again, I want to thank you again for giving me this time, this opportunity to share kind of my little life and my new sport reporting project to you and to your listeners.
Great.
Keep doing what you're doing. Where your listeners and viewers can find me, you could go to YouTube and then go to YouTube/Mike Nice Show. That's nice. So that's MikeNiceshow. And that's a lot of my old shows. That's probably like the first 10 years of some of my interviews that's on that channel.
Right.
And then for my recent stuff, you could go on Vimeo, Vimeo, I believe, Vimeo, and type in Mike Nice Show. And you can see a lot of my new stuff, the stuff that I have been doing for the past 5 years. The Dr. Umar Johnson show up there, the Hillary Bank interviews up there. I had Judge Lynn Toller, the divorce judge who's on TV, that I did an interview with her. So a lot of my recent stuff is on Vimeo. And then for my baby, for my newest project, The Sport of Reporting, if you go to YouTube and type in The Sport of Reporting Part 1, the number 1. So The Sport of Reporting Part 1. You can watch a lot of my latest trailers. And I just want to tell your listeners, so please bear with me. Please subscribe. I'm going to put out a brand new trailer in a couple of weeks. I'm just really trying to build this energy and the subscribers up. As you know, it's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
But I worked so hard and diligently on this film. I don't want this for 100 viewers. I want, at least a couple thousand viewers to watch it when I live stream it. So please, for your listeners to bear with me, subscribe, comment, do what you have to do. But you could go on YouTube, The Sport of Reporting Part 1, and you can watch some of my trailers for this amazing, epic project that hasn't been done before.
Man, I can't wait to see it. Absolutely can't wait to see it.
I'm excited. Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. And also, I'm going to put as I said before, I'm going to put everything that he said, that he sent me in the description box for you to guys go ask some questions or go subscribe to him, comment to this this video as well.
Yep.
Any questions you got for me, if you want to be interviewed either by me or either by Mike Howard, either or, Mr. Mike Howard.
Or both.
Yeah, both. Yeah, at the same time.
Both are best worlds, right?
Yeah, let's do it, and this is what it means to progress to every avenue, helping the local people out by helping each other out. Stop waiting for other people to help you out. You get people that you may not agree with or you may agree with to help each other. That's how you do it. That's how you promote things. That's how every successful man or woman do this. They have a little circle and they help each other out, But anyway, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. I will put Mr. Mike Howard information onto the description box, and we're going to holler at you later. Hey, Mike, I'm going to get in contact with you as soon as I'm done putting this on and everything.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll resend you my info right now so you can have it the right word and the right letters and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, take your time because this thing it's going to download, probably going to take like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. So take your time.
All right.
All right. All right. Now, guys, you take it easy. Peace out. All
Later.
right. Peace.